So the game we took was Monopoly. The objective of Monopoly is to start collecting properties, build houses, hotels, and in the end of the game, you should be the only player standing and the other player should go bankrupt. So we observed that the game starts out slowly, it gets interesting, but nobody really reaches the end. Because the part where the other players get bankrupt happens very slowly. That is why we've introduced changes in the game which would speed up the boring parts of the game. That is the initial start and the end of the game once the players are all rich and to make only one player stand alone.
Also, Monopoly is basically a game based on risk and luck. But many a times when you play, you see players not taking that risk and luck. For example, trading cards is something in Monopoly which no one does because of the risk. And also investing in places is something people think about twice before when they play. Our aim is to reach bankruptcy a bit faster, at least faster than 4 or 5 hours or how much time this game takes. And what we've done is we've introduced another colored die where we have all colors ranging from brown until yellow. And this is to be rolled at the start of the game by the 2 or 4 players, how many are playing. And let's say I roll and I get the color brown. In that case, I'm dealt out the first card of brown, which means I have a property with me when I start already. So we start with this property. Everyone starts with one property based on your luck, and the game moves on. Once all properties have been owned, and then you pass go, rather than collecting 200, you will be giving out 200. You have to give 200 to the bank rather than collect 200. Also, since we have introduced the element of giving them a property in the start, we are reducing the initial amount they have from 1,500 to 1,300.
No, I didn't. Give. I'll pay you 40. No.
You're at 20-year-olds.
So the game goes on as normal. Half an hour or 45 minutes has passed. They would be in a situation where they have owned properties, they have made houses, and the rent is also now everything is high. And they start losing money as they pass go. So that is what we expect. Right now, simulating it won't work. So what we expect is once the houses come into play, you start paying high rent and losing money as well. And whoever goes into bankruptcy loses faster.
I appreciate that you identify the two issues which are actually there in the game. That acquiring property is kind of slow, and losing, like going bankrupt, is also slow.
Our aim was still not to speed it up completely. Like, we have played Monopoly for hours in our childhood and we can play it for like 1-2 hours without getting bored. So that is why we did not want to speed up the entire game, and we just wanted to intervene where we thought it needed to be sped up.
So this reducing 200 once all the properties are bought, I think it's advantageous to the person who owns small property. So it's in that way just speeding up the game, but the winner is the same. If all the property in one row is bought, then how many ever people are there in that row at that point, the rent is that many times.
Playing with the rows is also a good idea. I mean, you could modify the rent in a row depending on, some landing, or like maybe you could put in new chance cards or new community chess cards.
One problem we faced while doing this was Monopoly as a game has a lot of elements. So we felt adding more, we didn't know how much more to add because we didn't want to add more elements and cause chaos.
Do you know the history of this game?
So, if I remember correctly, the game was made in the Great Depression and people really loved it because in the game world, people could actually buy, sell stuff and actually feel like they have money or
Become rich.
Become rich.
Let me tell you the entire history. During Depression, in the US market around 30s, 33 or something like that, there was a lot of job and employment problem. So a lot of people lost their jobs. One of them who lost his job his name was Charles Darrow. He was a sanitary engineer and he had to move to a smaller town in order to survive because the cost of living is low there. Okay, so he shifted to a place somewhere away, and he found that the children were getting bored. And remember, that time there was no TV or any of those things. So what they really did, he actually invented this game in that particular town. And the original game, which was licensed to Parker Brothers later, was containing all the places from that town. You know, so you can go to this place, this place, this place. He found that his children were absolutely fascinated by them. So after the depression was over, he approached Parker Brothers, who were leading manufacturers of games and toys, to see whether they would like to buy these rights. Parker Brothers had a system of its own. They had, I think, 7 executives. They will play the game and then decide collectively whether they want to buy the license or not. So they played the game and came out with 52 objections. One of the objections that there is no end to the game. You know? So you can't have a game without an end. That was his second objection. It had nothing to do with religion and things like that. That time most of the games had a lot to do with religion. Charles Darrow decided that if my children have liked it, I am sure there is a market for it. So he decided to manufacture the game himself. He marketed it, became popular. It became popular for the reason that he told, because everybody was looking at money as something worth having, you know, because depression, they just come out of depression. So earning money, earning property was very important. Parker Brothers bought the right from Charles Darrow much later at a much higher price. Yeah? And even now it's world's largest selling game. It has a lot of variations, you know, depending on region. There is a credit card variation also.
Yeah.
You can pay through credit cards and things like that. So it's one of the most popular games now. And it's almost 70, 80 years that it still survives. Yeah. And it's still selling well. Okay. So the point that I'm making is that sometimes some values in the society become so important that the game clicks. And this is one such example of that. What is good about this game, and which you have maintained and maybe slightly increased also, is an interaction between players. This game is based on interaction. Some games click and one doesn't know it, like some songs click. No? I mean, we don't know why they click, but they suddenly become very popular. It's one of those kind of cases.